Centuries after the first Manticore's roar, silence returned to the vast Persian desert. The shifting sands, once echoing with the cries of a legendary beast, held their breath, waiting. The legends faded into whispers, and the whispers turned to forgotten tales. But the desert remembers. It remembers the shadow with wings, the lion's body, and the stinger that delivered death. For generations, the dunes were peaceful, a deceptive calm that hid a slumbering nightmare. The winds carried stories of a time when monstrous kings ruled the night, and humanity cowered in their wake. But even the deepest slumber must end, and the silence was about to be broken. His name was Ramin, the last of the hunters. He walked the endless sea of sand not as a traveler, but as a ghost tethered to a single purpose. His cloak, worn and frayed by the relentless winds, was his only shield against the harsh sun. But the true weight he carried was not the ancient blade at his side, but the memory that fueled every step. He was a relic of a forgotten order, a lineage of warriors sworn to protect the world from the creatures that lurked in the darkness. While others forgot, his bloodline remembered. The desert was his home, his proving ground, and his eventual tomb. He sought not treasure or glory, but an end to a cycle of fear that had begun long before his time. He had seen the beast before, not in legends or in the carvings on ancient stones, but with his own eyes. A memory seared into his mind, a flashback of fire and smoke. He was just a boy, small and helpless, as the flames devoured his village, painting the night sky in horrifying shades of red and orange. Through the billowing smoke, a monstrous shadow passed, its form a terrifying amalgamation of lion, bat, and scorpion. It was a brief, nightmarish glimpse, but it was enough. He remembered the screams of his family, silenced one by the Devourer. That night, the boy died, and a hunter was born from the ashes, his heart forged in grief and a burning, unquenchable thirst for retribution. Now, under the cold gaze of the desert moon, he prepared for his destiny. By a small, crackling fire, Ramin sharpened his sword. This was no ordinary weapon. It was the soul blade, a relic of immense power and sorrow. The blade itself was carved from the fang of the very first Manticore, slain by his ancestor in an age of heroes. It held a faint ethereal glow, absorbing the moonlight and pulsing with a quiet energy. Every stroke of the whetstone against its edge was a prayer, a promise, a sharpening of his own resolve. This sword was not just a tool of vengeance. It was a connection to his past, the legacy of his fallen family, and the only hope for the future. Tonight, the heavens themselves seemed to conspire. A glowing red moon, like a bleeding eye, hung low in the sky, casting a spectral light over the dunes. The stars, usually a brilliant tapestry, were faint, choked by the ever-present dust. A low growl, more felt than heard, carried on the wind, a sound that would freeze the blood of any other man. But for Ramin, it was a summons. He looked toward the horizon, his expression a mask of grim determination. His entire life had been a journey to this single moment. He would face the nightmare that haunted the sands, the monster that had stolen his world. Tonight, he would end it. The hunt begins. With torchlight flickering and casting dancing shadows, Ramin walked into the rising sandstorm. The wind howled like a banshee, tearing at his cloak and threatening to extinguish his only light. The world dissolved into a swirling vortex of sand and darkness. As the camera pans across the ground, the torch reveals what he has been searching for. Massive claw prints, impossibly large, pressed deep into the sand. Each print was a testament to the creature's raw power, a clear sign that he was on the right path. The predator was close, and the desert itself was rising to witness their final confrontation. Ramin's grip on his torch tightened as he followed the tracks into the heart of the storm. In the swirling chaos, a flicker of movement. 2 points of light, like malevolent embers, glowed in the distance, the eyes of the beast. They watched him, unblinking, from the veil of the sandstorm. Ramin froze, his heart pounding a steady, rhythmic beat against his ribs. He gripped the soul blade, its faint light a small comfort in the oppressive darkness. The music shifts, the ambient tones replaced by low, rhythmic drums. like the heartbeat of the desert itself. A slow zoom focuses on Ramin's face, his jaw set, his eyes reflecting the distant, glowing threat. There was no fear in his gaze, only the cold, hard resolve of a man with nothing left to lose. He followed the gaze of the beast into an ancient cave, a gaping maw in the rock face that promised either shelter or a tomb. The walls within were a gallery of nightmares. Primitive drawings, faded by time, depicted monstrous creatures with the bodies of lions, the wings of bats, and the faces of men. Glowing Persian runes flickered with an arcane light, telling a story of fear and worship. Legends said the beast's lair lay beneath the red moon, and this place, steeped in ancient dread and decorated with images of his nemesis, felt like the heart of that legend. He was walking into the belly of the beast, guided by the very stories meant to warn him away. Suddenly, the howling wind stopped. An unnatural silence fell upon the cave, heavy and suffocating. Sand trickled from the ceiling, the only sound in the dead air. A shadow detached itself from the deeper darkness behind Ramin. It was a blur at first, a distortion in the gloom, but it slowly coalesced into a familiar, terrifying shape. Two glowing eyes ignited in the darkness, and the silhouette of the Manticore began to form. It had been there all along, watching him, a patient predator waiting for its prey to walk into the trap. The Devourer was silent, its presence a crushing weight in the enclosed space. The hunter had become the hunted. With the slow, deliberate grace of a man who has accepted his fate, Ramin turned. He raised the soul blade, its ethereal light flaring to life, pushing back against the oppressive gloom. The moonlight, filtering through a crack in the cave ceiling, struck both figures at once, freezing them in a timeless tableau. Man and monster, vengeance and fury, locked in a silent standoff before the inevitable clash. Dust rose from the cavern floor as an unheard roar shattered the silence. The screen fades to black, leaving only the promise of a battle that will shake the very foundations of the desert. To be continued. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss what happens next.